spreads, and options have commissions. Somebody brought up Forex. Forex, you only pay once. You just pay the spread. There's not commissions. And it's a lot less. So Forex is something that you might want to entertain. It's got a lot of advantages. First of all, the market opens in the morning, closes at 4, then it, like Gary says, at 4:30, basically between 4 and 4:40, they make adjustments over the trades that didn't get entered during the day. They have to enter them all between 4 and 4:30, which changes the price. Forex market starts, I think, Sunday about 5 p.m. our time, opens, and closes Friday somewhere around 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. our time. It's open all the time. So you can get in at any point. You can get at the beginning, it runs longer. There's no open and close. The one problem with the market is unless you're day trading, you get in at a certain thing, you made money that day, and you're really happy, and then the next morning you wake up and the stock dropped $2. There's no way to trade during that, so you just stuck with whatever result you get the next day. Another interesting thing about Forex is currencies, if anybody doesn't know. It's basically currencies trading against each other, like the dollar against the Swiss, the euro against the British pound. But there are also what's called CDCs traded on the Forex market. And this is what I used to like, because I really had a resonance with gold. And there's a gold CDC, there's a silver CDC, there's actually an S&P 500 CDC, so you can trade the market, the U.S. stock market, on the Forex. So,
Can you spell that?
the CDC or Forex, F-O-R-E-X.
What does CDC stand for? You know, is it certificates or some
Yeah, you know,
depository?
I know somewhere deep in my subconscious because I learned it so many times.
Currency depository certificates or something
That could
like
be it. That sounds reasonable.
Okay. Sounds good.
But the reason I bring up the Forex market is because it's highly leveraged and the cost of entry is much lower. I think many accounts on options require you to have, other than buying regular puts and calls, so, well, I'm not going to give the spreads, but they, you know, it's a few $1,000s, $10,000. Stocks, it's usually $10,000 and up to get into that market. I think on Forex accounts you can get in from $500 to $1,000 to get started. So the cost of entry is a whole lot lower. There's a lot of Forex sites. Most of them have a version of paper trading where you're not trading on paper, you're actually going in and trading, you're just not trading real money. So it calculates you as if you do. I think some of them you can just get in there and sign up and just do it for free. Other ones, you open up an account for a few $100s and then they let you do it. I didn't come here prepared. If I could find a couple sites.
I found one of them. It's Monster, Trade Monster, and it's free account, free paper trade.
Yeah.
And it's really awesome.
I know
It's got all the
Thinkorswim
tools.
it was a good one that I used to paper
Yeah,
trade
that's
with way back in the day.
TD Waterhouse.
There you go.
TD Ameritrade.
TD Ameritrade, thank you.
Yeah. So they have a free one too.
Yeah. So to real fast to put it together, you need a system, which is what we're learning with Gary. Then you need to apply that system to something financial. And this is the questions you have now. Forex, like I say, to get in as far as the entry to start trading, which still, I would not trade real money for months to years till you really get it down to it. Shows you weekly after weekly after monthly success. And I think someone alluded to, you getting in the way, and you did too, you getting in the way of yourself. You can have success trading, paper trading, and as soon as you start trading money, like you said, and all of a sudden, oh, I know what I'm doing. As soon as I comes in there, then that sets you right back to point A again. So that's why the system that Gary's teaching you, where you go outside, going to visualize the chart. But you go outside of yourself to find the answers. And to tap into that then puts you out of the picture, which is you're gonna self-sabotage it. It's in trading, it's one of the hardest things. Yes?
Maybe an obvious question. You're doing this, are you using the system?
I have a system, yes. It's not Gary's system, but yes, I mean, you have to have a system.
But I mean, is it spiritual?
No. No, I mean, in a way it is, because I do feel things, but really, the system that I follow is set up so to keep me out of it. Basically, I'm supposed to be there just to follow the rules, and when I trade well, that's what I do. And when I get into trouble is when I think I'm better than the rules, which just about, I can count on that.
That's exactly what they said at the seminar.
Exactly.
That if you take the emotion out of it and follow David Mitchell's rules, which he's got a lot of experience doing it. I mean, I was surprised. I was thinking this is not going to be good. I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, there was some schmaltz and some stuff that, you know, we didn't need that because we already have our dream bigger than our fears or whatever that you kept talking about. But once the content started coming about what you're saying, you know, a system of where you have a rule, you have a stop out at 8%, and you don't put any money in that's, you know, if you lost the 8% of that, that's going to hurt you, then to me it seemed a pretty safe way to go, and I appreciate the referral because I actually got a lot out of it. And it does show me that it is complex and that I wouldn't go near options until I had the proper training to do that. I mean, that wouldn't make sense at all, I don't think.
And one thing I didn't bring in yet, because it would be the next step, but on anything, whether you're trading stocks, whether you're trading options, even Forex, there's a time element. I mean, are you in a trade? I mean, when you're asking the question, is this going up or down? Well, that's not a precise enough question. Is this going up or down starting from 4:30 today to 4:30 tomorrow? Is this going up or down from 9:30 this morning to 2 o'clock? I mean, you have to put a time frame in there. It could be a week, it could be a month. You know, investing is longer term, trading is shorter term. The shorter term you're trading, the more trades you're going to make, the more commissions you can pay. There again, that's where you're paying double going each way. So that brings me back to looking at Forex again.
Well, e-option was $3 to buy in and $3 to sell, so it's the lowest cost. I guess that's why the new venture on Wall Street people recommend it. So that's pretty cheap.
Yeah, I paid 12 cents.
Oh, well.
I mean, but the reason I bring that up, not to brag, but that's retail, like $3 is the cheap. I mean, retail is set up for you not to make money.
Oh.
It's
okay.
impossible. You're playing against the odds in so many different ways. And that's...
But you're a professional then?
I am not a professional. I do not do it for a living. I have been trading for many, many years. And I've traded options, I've traded Forex, I've traded futures. The system I am learning now, I'm a proprietary trader for Oliver Velez. So I've been training for him. It's kind of like an internship. I trade his money, and I've been doing it for over 3 years. There's different levels that you can achieve, and you get to certain levels, and there are many traders that trade for him, that's all they do, and that's how they make their living. I have not gotten to that point, and it's not because of lack of knowledge of what to trade or how to trade. The real issue I have is what Gary's teaching, is getting myself out of the way, to be honest.
And do you enjoy it?
I love it. I love it.
See, I think I would enjoy it as well. So.
Jeff, why do you like it? Why do you love it?
Well, first of all, it gets me up in the morning excited every morning. Because it starts 8:30, I got to be there 8, start doing my little prep work. Second thing is, it's a daily challenge, and it's funny because the challenge is twofold. The challenge is to use a structured system, combine it with my intuition, and then be able to get out of the way all at the same time. And some days I'm locked in, and it's a beautiful thing. And I feel it almost before the day starts. I know this is going to be a beautiful day. I'm going to be very successful. And other days, I know this is not going to work out well, but there's a 1 out of 10 chance I'm going to be wrong, and it still is going to be work. work out, as long as I still do it. And then it's really, it teaches me, or it puts me up against self-discipline always, because it's that challenge of self-discipline and keeping myself out of the way. Until you do it every day, I can't even describe what that means. I'm sure everyone in their own way have come up against things that you know you can do well, and still you keep yourself from doing it well.
Golf.
Yeah,
It's a
Yeah.
prime example.
yeah. I used to play tennis, and the same thing.
I'm confused about that. You say you're using a structured system and yet you're using your intuition.
Yes, the intuition comes in because there still are choices within that. I am given 10 stocks every day, which I have a choice to trade.
Oh,
I get to choose those 10 stocks
okay.
out of a list of 100. But I'm supposed to stay with the same 10 stocks, so I really get to know them. I get a relationship with them intuitively over time.
Okay.
I'll switch one or two out. That's one. And then I have more with money management, not so much when to get into trade, but how much I put into a trade, how much to take out at certain points in profit. I have leeway that way too.
Okay.
And then during the day, which out of the 10, which one or two, because I usually can't trade more than one or two at a time. Which ones do I pick if they're all going up, or if they're all going down? It's like, okay, they're all giving me signals. Which ones do I choose? That's some
Do
intuition.
you use the alerts on your phone?
Do I what?
Do you use the alerts on your phone?
No, I'm trading on the computer. I
Well,
have charts.
the lady who spoke to us, she's not
At
one to
her-
sit at a computer. She's gonna be running, she's got 4 boys, she's all over the place. Right there on her phone, the alert, will hit her, it's hitting the
Yeah,
resistance
no, I
line.
need to know the second it happens, because I start trading at 8:30. I'm usually done by 9:30, 10, so I'm a very short time period.
Okay.
And so by the time I got alert on a phone, there's probably 200,000 trades that just went down between the time I got the alert and otherwise if I'm watching it real time.
Can you share how you got the commissions down from $3 to 12 cents?
You have to become a proprietary trader for someone. It's a group.
Okay.
It's a it's not a group package deal. It's what professionals pay versus retail pays.
Gotcha.
And then I happen to get into a professional group, so I get to share in that commission.
So with mutual funds, I don't think you can day
Right,
trade
someone brought
those,
in.
right?
No, and you know what?
Yes,
That's not the
because you
point of
can't.
mutual funds. Now let me
They're
just
long-term, aren't they?
yeah, mutual funds is you are hiring an expert to basically make choices for you, and hopefully educated choices, because hopefully that's what they're trained to do. And I'm using the word hopefully a lot because I've heard horror stories. There's some good ones, and there's some that
Terrible.
how they got there, nepotism, who knows how they got where they got. But my advice on mutual funds, which is more, that's investing, it's not trading, is you start with Gary's system to be able to choose who the money manager is or which fund it is. And there again, on everything you put a time limit. It's not open-ended. The market's not open-ended. The market's going to go, it might go in one direction for 10 years, but it doesn't stay in the same direction forever.
Jeff, what about professional newsletters that people are offered all the time, and then they suggest that you follow this stock, that stock, according to the newsletter? What's your opinion about that?
I'll go back to your system, and I don't see how that has any place in your system. That's a system in its own. It's like how many people have gone to the racetrack, horse races, and they have those little tip sheets. How often do they work? Anybody make a fortune off those? It's the same thing.
Well, and too, aren't those newsletters often these guys got positions in these stocks and they're trying to sell them? It's their pitch as well.
I'm not there on the inside, but I hear stories, and from what I gather, it's like you're talking about, don't get into gambling. To me, I think this has potential. There's as much, I'm not going to say crooked, but it seems like it's not either, it's like a legalized scam. It's just slanted away from the retail's favor and so much into the insider's favor. And so, you know, that happens. We've seen it in movies, you know, that was supposed to be real life about, we need to get rid of these shares, so let's sell them to, you know, someone else. I don't know if anybody saw Trading Places, but they kind of flipped on them. But there's a lot of truth to that movie. You know, they made a fun of it, but there's a lot of truth to it. You know, you have to use Gary's system if you're going to choose someone else to really be pure, to align with whoever that person is or that company is, or you use Gary's system to align yourself to do it yourself. But I mean, really, no, we're here for the system that it is. That's why, that's one advantage we have, and that's why we are special, because we can practice and learn this, where others don't have access to it. They have access to so much that we don't have, that when we start wanting to learn these statistical systems and other, that takes years and years of training. You know, if you enjoy it like I do and you want to invest years and years on it, then that's great. But I just get the feeling that's not why we're really here, even though it's easy to get distracted and go into a lot of different directions. And that's why you need to keep it very simple.
Oh, I was gonna ask the question before you went into that. Do you think the system's rigged? And I mean,
What
the word
system?
rigged, the whole trading system. I mean, you've got.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and
that's
you've
why we
got-
pay commissions twice going, we pay twice going in and twice going out. Yeah,
Well,
unless they're paying, unless you're the one that, you know, the system, I mean, people are paying to.
Right.
Then, hey, if I was the one that I was getting paid twice going in and twice going out, then I'd say, no, it's not rigged, this is perfectly fair.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just, not just that obvious piece, but that book that came out like 4 or 5 months ago, where the guy's talking about the, you know, it's computerized trading, and one house is getting it a millisecond before,
Mhm.
so they know which way it moved.
Yeah, I mean, you
But
can
it's
see
by
it when you
virtue
watch,
of the rig in
Yeah.
their
Do you trade real time?
system.
I used to.
yeah, so you know when the news comes out at 10 o'clock or whatever.
Already too late.
Yeah, 5 or 10 minutes, all of a sudden, somebody knows something, right? Well, how do they know something?
Well, I mean, yeah, they had to fix in the
Yeah.
system that they were getting it
But all that
milliseconds
doesn't matter.
before it.
You're-
Yeah, so put together for us how it is this system can beat the fact that it's already rigged.
I'll explain that in just a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's still got to move in a direction or not. Doesn't matter if it's rigged or not. If you can intuit the direction,
Yeah,
That's
you're
right.
ahead of the game.
then yeah, that's your advantage and that's your system. That's what I'm saying. Now, what to do after that, that's what I'm talking about, whether you go in Forex. One other thing I'll cover, I was in actually an investing group, and it was probably about 15 people, and they all pooled money. The amount of money you put in give you a certain amount of shares. They started an LLC, I think it was, and that LLC actually signed up with a brokerage. And as a group, they made decisions of what to buy, when to buy, how long to hold it, and then as a group they would buy. And this is investing, so you can't necessarily go short, but they were buying, and then they would decide how long to go in and whatever, and they had parameters to do that after. So there are ways to do it as a group. You can put your money, you know, with a small group, with a larger group.
That was for a longer term play though, right? You weren't
It
trying
is
to-
for a longer term
Not
play.
trying to meet I mean, you couldn't do that to day trade. It would be difficult.
Well, the way you would do that is everyone had different jobs in there. You know, I think mine at first was to find the right brokerage for our group that to trade from. You could assign 1 or 2 people to be your day traders, and other people do other things.
That's true.
You know, your best
Divvy it up.
intuitors are your intuitor to tell the day traders what to do.
Well, and actually, we were talking about this, the more you look at charts, the more it messes you up when you're trying to do that visualization, because you start seeing candles. Like, no, don't show me directions.
Because-
You don't wanna know that.
Because with all the systems, and charts and candles are a system, you learn how to read it because you're learning patterns.
Right.
You're now taking conflicting systems. You're trying to learn a system from Gary that's intuiting and getting an answer of where you're asking a question and you're getting that answer, and that question should be specific enough to tell you what you want to know to be able to trade. And you can't combine that with another system. Now all of a sudden you got 2 conflicting systems. They're
So
gonna,
it's almost like the person who's doing the intuiting of it should not be looking at any of the charts we're making the trades, because unfortunately, when you log on and you go in there and you look, you're gonna see what it's doing.
Right.
And you'll see
And you can,
the
and you
support
know,
and resistance line.
if you did have a group, you can have the traders be people who can really follow directions, not like some of us. You know, I mean, I probably would do a lot better if I told somebody what to do and they just listened to what I said. Because I tell myself what to do and I don't always listen to me. Yes, sir.
I think it's, one thing I've noticed, I think it's very important to not to invest in a company even though you know it's going to make money, that you're totally opposed in terms of what they do. That creates a contradiction in yourself and you may end up losing the money. For example, if you're opposed to GMOs and you invest in Monsanto, then you know you make money, you know, you may end up losing it because of.
And that's a subject that's a lot bigger than the market, yes. Which is another reason why I like Forex, because it's just the
It's just
price
money.
of a currency at that particular moment, or something like gold or silver. So it's a commodity. Yeah, there's no, you know, it's a lot cleaner
Yeah,
spiritually.
Less personal, I guess.
that makes sense.
How much are you trading then with Forex versus stocks?
I have not been doing Forex for about a year and a half, mainly because I needed to focus on one thing, and I was doing too many, you know, and
Yeah, they say your focus, it's too much to know and keep on top of.
So as you're trading stocks, you're doing the options, you're doing spreads,
I
you're
am
doing
not doing
everything?
options. I do not do that anymore.
You're just doing stock trading?
I'm just doing one method, and I'm really spending years just doing that method so I can really learn it.
And is that
that's it.
stock trading?
Yes.
Is that trading?
Yes.
Jeff, can I ask you one final question here? What was the most difficult thing you had to learn when you started that we need to know?
You know, and when I started with this system, you know, because we talked about it, and if I would just listen to you and just followed your advice and practiced your method of intuition, I would have been able. I'm still trying to learn that same lesson because I haven't practiced it. You know, I'm a very good trader. I mean, I'll put one little thing out. They reorganized the company right after I started, and they had like 1,800 traders. And the first thing, what they call is go out of practice level and go live. And it was, you have to get to the first 3 levels. And out of 1,800 traders, I was the 4th person to get to that level. I'm a very good trader. And then there's probably since then, out of those 1,800, probably half of them have passed me, and I've gone backwards because I've gone up, I go down. I'm like the tortoise and the hare. I'm the hare. I can really trade well, and I can go fast, and I can really sink an account really fast. Same thing. So, you know, this method, and when I came here the first day of the class, I didn't know what I was coming here for. When Gary has a class, I gotta come. And I was really intrigued with the subject matter, and then we did the exercise of, you know, bringing the energy through my body. I haven't done that in a year and a half, and I connected back in. I go, I can't believe why did I forget this? You know, why haven't I been practicing this?
Thank you. Thank you. Jeff, thank you very much. And probably at different times, maybe for the classes in October, if you don't mind, I'll bring you back up. Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. I didn't intend to talk about this, but Ruth, you brought up a very good question. Because sooner or later you're going to get to the inevitable question that the market is somehow rigged, that we don't know all the variables, no matter how much we study, no matter what we do, that there are still elements of this that we cannot control. Well, thank goodness we have physics. Thank goodness for that. Because when you start thinking about physics and you start applying it to any of your questions, I don't care what they are, whatever the field is, you start thinking about how do the laws of the universe work, because these are the laws of the universe, just like gravity. So, if you don't mind, can I digress for a moment and address that question? Just for a moment. I think you'll find this interesting. Because I thought a lot about that. simple right now, just extremely simple, just to get the point across. Okay, sooner or later, you're going to choose some type of stock, or whatever you're going to choose, a building perhaps, or some real estate, or whatever you want. I don't care what it is that you're going to invest in. I don't care. But I'm going to choose a stock right now. So we have a stock, and we have its name, and we have a time when we're observing that stock, right? Just like we're doing. Okay? Now, we are going to look ahead because at 4:30 Eastern Time, we're going to say that stock is going to either go up or down, or whatever you're going to be doing at that point, depending upon your system, to determine how I'm going to make money. Is that a fair statement? Okay? So we have 4:30 Eastern Time. Okay? And of course we have a date. And since time appears to be linear, but it's really not because we're interfering with it. We have people in the market that are manipulating the market. So we have some manipulators that may bring it up here, manipulation. We might have issues in the world that can change it. We might have some lady who decides she wants to dump a bunch of her stock, and now we have 100 million shares of stock somewhere that's been dumped at some point. We're not even aware of that. So we're getting all of these variables. Now, if you go back to what's called the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, that tells you that whenever anyone goes into the system and they're observing it, so they're doing something with the system. They're putting money in, they're even looking at it in the newspaper. They're not even investing in it, but that's affecting the stock, according to physics, quantum mechanics. Well, the beautiful part about where we're going to go with this is in our statement. Our statement. Okay? It's magnificent when you think about this. My hairs go up on my body. Because we have our statement. We have our statement. And in this statement, all I have to add are these simple words. Regardless of the effects that are happening on that stock, show me what's going to happen to that stock at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, and you choose the date. I don't care if it's 5 years ahead. The moment I put those words into that statement, I don't care who's manipulating this. I don't care what the geographic conditions are doing. I don't care who's looking at it. I don't care about anything. Let them do it.
You're gonna need a start time and an end time.
Right. Yeah. Start time.
Yeah, so like from now to 4:30 Friday, or from 4:30 today till we need to start time.
Very good. And that would be our date that we would have. Thank you. Yes.
If I remember correctly, that statement that you just made was not in our statement. Are we adding that piece tonight?
Oh, yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Thought maybe I didn't listen last time.
What you might just put down there are, regardless of the major effects, just keep it simple, regardless of the major effects, show me X, Y, or Z. Okay, so let them do whatever they want with the market. Let them do whatever they want. When I put that statement in here, into this statement, and then realized I had to look at 4:30 versus 4 o'clock Eastern Time, I mean, it's like laser. If I'm on, if my energy, just like you said, my energy is on, I get it clear, like I'm ready to do it, I'm always right. Always correct. Always correct, because energy is flowing through. I've discounted all of the different parameters that are going on. And the moment I'm out of that, as you said, I'm going to be wrong. No matter what I write here. No matter what I write in that statement. Everything has to match. You need a system, and you have to reproduce that system time after time after time after time. If you do that, you've got a chance. An excellent chance.
I would say if you do that, you will be successful.
So Gary, do we need to rewrite the statement every day?
You tell me. Barbara, you tell me. Feel it from here. Feel it from here. Feel it. Let the energy go through. What's your spirit telling?
Says yes, but.
Yes, but.
From up here. From up here. Let it go through. Let it go through. Seriously.
Yeah.
Let it go through. What are you getting now?
3 days.
Yeah. About 3 days. And if you put a little bit of an adjustment to that, it may depend upon certain conditions. So you'd be safe if you rewrote it each time, for practice at the very least.
Okay.
For practice at the
Thank
very
you.
least. Okay.
Just for the sake of practice, sometimes if I miss a day, after it's closed, I'm doing it for the past. Is that bad?
No.
Okay, I'm just practicing, so I don't really.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Do you realize why that's more difficult?
Meaning doing the same statement, I don't know.
Desiree, would you mind standing and making sure they hear that?
Yes, sorry, can hardly talk. For sake of practice, if I miss the day, maybe I'll do it at 6 and say the statement for today, what it was, because I still don't know what it was, just for practice.
Okay.
And I wanna know if that's doing something, if that's bad, or if it's okay
Okay.
to practice.
What I would suggest, and thank you for asking that question, what I would suggest is in the beginning, you pick a time on whatever day it is, and you look ahead on that same day at 4:30 p.m. at that same day. I would suggest you stay in that direction. If you go back, then what you have to do is you have to orient yourself to the previous day. You have to put yourself into that time space of the previous day. So now we have another variable which can make things much more difficult. Now you can easily do it if you practice. You can do it. But why make it hard on yourself right now? If you can look ahead by several hours, most of the day, and you can determine that, hey, you can still make money, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just figure we're not trying to predict the past, so that's really probably useless. I need to predict the.
It's okay, I mean, you can practice, it's
Okay.
practice. It's
Okay.
practice, but don't make it hard on yourself.
Okay.
Keep it
That's what I
simple,
wanna know.
like you were saying. That
Okay.
was brilliant. Simplicity.
So my question is, knowing that when you look and there's trading going on after the market closes and before the market closes, so would you still go with the 4:30 time frame? If you're scanning
choose
versus
any
the next
time frame.
morning time frame?
I mean, this is what worked for Gary, that's what he got, but whatever works for you. Time frame, you know, my time frame's from 8:30 in the morning to 10 a.m. in the morning. That's basically my time frame, so you choose what works for you.
And Sherry, since you've asked, I spent 3.5 years of looking at 4 o'clock Eastern time. Now, I had to get all of my other variables correct. I had to make sure I was energetic, I had to make sure I was protected, I had to go through all my steps. And once I got all that down, I began watching what would happen if I traded or thought about 4 o'clock versus 4:30. I was right, if I chose at 4 o'clock with all the other variables being exactly correct, if I chose 4 o'clock Eastern time, I was right about 60% of the time. If I went to 4:30, 94%. 94%.
So that just meant there was that much more that came in between 4 and 4:30?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
got it.
Now, I didn't know any of this, but then when I went back and started examining this, it made a lot of sense.
Did you ever try it for the next morning before, when it opens the next morning, like Jeff was saying, because you could wake up and all of a sudden your stock's
You can't
gone
trade there,
down?
that's the problem.
You can't trade it, okay.
I wanted to make sure that I could do something because everything in my mind is, I get a system down, I want to train you guys, this has got to go out to the world. Okay, that's the purpose of everything I'm doing.
I was just thinking to make it easy, so I rewrite the statement every day, is to write the statement and have blanks in it. Like do it on the computer,
Right.
and then kind of, you could make a worksheet, I was thinking out of it, where you could have, you know, here's your date, and here's, you know, this is what I did today, and then you can have your results, and you can really track it. Then you can draw your circle around each one, you can put your hand on it or do whatever, so that you're really capturing your statement. 'Cause, you know, we always draw a circle around the statement to put the energy in a place. I don't know if that would be helpful. So that each day you could just fill in the blanks. Today it's 2 o'clock, I'm doing it at 4:30 or whatever. It would make it more very, very specific.
For simplicity's sake,
Yeah,
if it was me,
yeah.
I just want to find the right statement and just use that. I don't want to be changing it.
Yeah, well, but all you're doing is
Every
changing
few
the
days.
times. Yeah, just
Right.
using the same statement, but you got blanks, so you just write in.
Changing your date.
Right.
Yeah,
Same doing a date
it's
sometimes.
still best, I mean, use the same, like Gary was saying, get one pattern down.
Right.
You know, so, you know, do it at the same time. Just, only because you're, once you change that, you're adding more variables.
Oh, about doing it at a different time. Yeah, I found that my results were better if I did it at the same time.
So, there's nothing wrong with tweaking, just to find the right statement, you can tweak little things, but the goal, at least my goal would be, find that perfect statement for me, so I don't have to keep reinventing the wheel, I really get good at
Well, I
that
think
one
it's
thing.
the statement, and then it's this whole thing too, because I find the days I don't get enough sleep, I don't feel well,
Sure.
I can't do it.
Exactly, which is the days that I try to learn and I haven't learned yet, to just not trade.
Don't trade, yeah.
Right.
I know beforehand the days I shouldn't trade.
Jim, from your experience, have you seen any advantages of working with another person? From your personal experience?
There's a chat room which we could jump in, and there's usually a couple hundred people in that. I have that on sometimes, sometimes I listen to it, sometimes I don't pay attention to it at all, even though it's on. Cruz comes and trades with me a couple days a week. I find that more of a distraction, because I tend to get lost in my own little world, and I feel like I should be giving him attention.
Right.
But, so for the type of trading I do, not if it was more of the group, the investment group like that, I thought that was great. So yes, so it kind of depends what the end goal is.
Okay, very good. Why am I asking so many questions about getting started? Why?
You gotta make choices.
You have many choices. How do we know which choices are correct? How do we know?
Ask the question.
Amy?
You
Which
center
way,
your,
Sandy? We'll tell everyone.
so you center yourself first and get
Right.
cleared and
We go
conscious.
through that's right, good, excellent. We go through the technique, and when you go through that technique and you're clear, and we'll go through this in a few minutes, and then you test, should I work with this person? Should I trade at this time? Whatever the answers are that keeps that energy moving through your body, so it's very strong, those are yes answers. Anything that stops or diminishes it, those are no answers. Always, always. It's that simple. It is that simple. Now, the point is, if you practice this enough, automatically, without even thinking about it, you already know it's a yes answer or a no answer. You don't have to go through all of this. You're automatically doing this all the time. And Ida, you brought up something extremely important last week. You talked about your family, because this is a very important point that I want to address. And I missed it last week after you brought this up. What did you say? You said that your family they weren't wealthy, but yet they had a certain attitude. What was that attitude?
Okay, what it was with my family, what I noticed a couple of years back in thinking, why were they had everything that they wanted, everything that we needed. Yet, I think, well, finally got to their bank statements, they passed it, wow, we really were poor, but at that time, that never entered anybody's mind. They were, I think I read in fact, they were givers. They always shared whatever they had, always, not just with family. Some people think that giving, yeah, I'm helping my sister, I'm helping my brother, someone in the family, but it wasn't only family. They were always circulating whatever was coming to them. And of course, they were also very much into nature. I think I also mentioned they never went to church on Sundays, but they were the most spiritual people I've ever known, and prayer warriors. But it came through nature. They're a lot of nature, and they're always being grateful for the beautiful day, the trees, the birds, and all that. But it was because they gave. They weren't holding on to it thinking, we're going to lose it.
Right.
You lose it if you start wanting to hang on to it. That's what I learned from this. You gotta release it and let it circulate, because it's not just yours. Whatever comes to you belongs to the world, to everybody. All that is good, anyway, comes from God or from Spirit or whatever, and any good that comes to me is for everyone. The good that comes to you is for everyone. That's why when he says when we can work from a group and share it, we can draw. You can draw on the energy of people within this class. But that's what I learned. It's
Right.
just putting it out there. Don't hold on to it. Circulate it. And that's what they always did. Whether it was a kid there that she saw, gee, it's really cold, and that little jacket, that little sweater is just not warm enough. Or those shoes need to be replaced. Whatever it was, it wasn't just family.
Right.
And
Very
they
good.
did it. And but they gave to family too. But I have cousins that needed to go say, I want to go to college, but if their parents are saying we don't have any money, they won't help me. honey, I'll help you, and Sally will help you. My husband, whatever, she would. Send them something, because it didn't matter, she did it, there was never lack, we never spoke of lack, we always had. And that's why the realization that I came to, it's in giving and sharing.
That's what it
It's
is.
circulating the good that comes to you, and it doesn't have to be just money.
To get to that point, and that's the most important point that we can ever imagine, in terms of the energetic approach, that's our answers in all cases. Because to get to that level of living, there has to be a profound confidence. Confidence, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, that whatever I need, it's already through me. It's already there. And it's filling in as I give it away. Because if you go into the system, I don't care what part of this you're dealing with, I don't care. And if you feel I don't have enough health, and there's not enough health for me, or I have to make $50,000 to do this or do that, as you know, going into the market, and you have to do this or have to do that, guess what's going to happen, Jeff? What's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Not good.
It's not good. You're setting yourself up to fail. You will fail. And you'll fail in all these other areas if I have to, if we lose our confidence that we have a system that works just like that. If we can keep that in mind and practice this technique, you'll get there. You'll
Because
get
all
there.
the good that comes to us, to everyone, is from Spirit, from God, from the life force, whatever you want to call it.
That's right. That's exactly right. This is why, and I'm looking down the road. Look, I said this before and I'm going to say it again, this country is in trouble. It's in major trouble, this country. I don't care who gets in the next election in November. I don't care what president we have after Obama, we're in trouble. And unless we start sending our energies into this country and start helping them, we're going to be in for some really bad times here in a year and a half. I mean, really bad times in a year and a half. We have a chance that if we can get this information out, we start sending our energies into this country just exactly the way Ida was saying, that we do this for our country, exactly with that same philosophy. We have a chance of maybe pushing it back 3 or 4 years. But it's going to be up to us. This is not just about us. This is about improving the quality of our life so we can then give it to others, because there's so much coming our way, it's very easy to do the rest of it. It's very easy to do the rest of it. Am I clear about this? That's where we're going with this. Okay. Next week, we'll go over muscle testing. Next week. Okay, next week we'll go over more of the energy concepts of just looking at yourself in the energetic field, and we'll evaluate that.